Hello guys, so now as you can see I have the files in GitHub. I'll put an image of the final solution and I also put the server-side files. Now what I'm going to do is to go to infinityfree and start getting the Ssl certificate to be able to type HTTPS instead of just HTTP, and that is going to take a while, like hours, so we are going to make that and just put it there for a while. Just wait on that, and on our host computer we are going to mimic the infinityfree host. So we are going to locally create the PHP files, the database table, and when the Ssl certificate is ready we are going to upload everything to infinityfree. So that is what we are going to do now. So we are in the infinityfree main website, main web page, and okay, so we are logged in to infinityfree, and but I'm sorry, this is not the one I wanted. Okay, so this is the account I wanted to log in first. As you can see, there is a tutorial made by infinityfree itself that guides you through the steps to get the Ssl certificate. Because if we go to our website, it says not secure, and if we force it to be secure, we get that message. So now let's secure our website. We go to infinityfree, free Ssl certificates. We press new Ssl certificate. We type the domain name. In our case, is this one. We press continue. And we choose the recommended Ssl service. Now we follow the steps below. and infinityfree already automated this process, or they are trying to do it because it's on beta. So we press this, and they ask us to log into the control panel. I approve. Okay, so we go back and do it and request the changes again. Okay, set up CNM record automatically. And this takes up to an hour, according to this, to propagate. We are in step 3. So what does the tutorial tell us? Step 3. Okay, the certificate is going to be pending, and after is resolved, we can install this Ssl certificate. Now it's a few hours. Okay, let's see the status of this. Okay, we just need to wait. And that's it for now on the host side. So let's go now to our local host and start creating our files. So we are not going to go to a local host, I'm sorry. I'm going to create the database in the host, in the infinityfree host. So we go to Accounts, Control Manager, MySQL Databases, and we are going to name the database okay. So we have the database name, the username, the password that is given in another section, and the host address. And now we are going to create a table The table name will be posts test, and it's going to have 9 columns. Now we need to give the type, the name, and the attributes for each column. We can do all this process with SQL syntax, but it is easier this way. So now we have filled up all the information for each column of our table. Now we need to transform the post ID into the primary key. So this one is going to be primary. And it's going to be auto increment. Auto increment. So each new record was going to be one bigger than the one before. Now that we have all the fields, we can preview the SQL command that creates a table with these characteristics. So this is just in case you want to create this same table in another database. You just give this command to the SQL and it's going to create the exact same table. So we have created our table in the database hosted by infinityfree. So image avatar saves the name of the file of the image that belongs to each post. Parent post ID points to another post ID that is going to be its parent. Email, well, timestamp post. Here we save the text of the post, the name of the user who posted the post, the user ID, the post ID, the page ID. We're not going to use a couple of these columns are not going to be necessary, but if you want to expand this, for example, have a chat room, different chat rooms, you can give a page ID and discriminate by page ID. Now if we go to our host account, and to the MySQL details, we have the username, database name, host name, and the MySQL password. For some reason this is not actualized. But here you find it, the SQL database name, You see 3277 3277. And the password is the one here. So now we're going to create a PHP files. So we go to account, this one, sorry, we were already there, so file manager. Okay, so do not upload files here. So we upload files here. Files for your website should be uploaded here. Okay, so you have the index. Can I save this? No. So I cannot modify this. So now we go to here, we get rid of the S. What we have? Hello. Okay, so now we create a folder, and inside this folder we're going to have two files. Get posts posts. Okay. Now so this is our PHP code. We need these, our database credentials, then we connect to the database. If we cannot connect, just kill the process. Then we get the page ID, that in our case is going to be like a constant, so it doesn't matter much. The query, select everything from the table posts test where page ID is equal. All of them are going to have this, so it's like select all from post test. Execute the query. If we get a result, send a good response and create an array with the response with each answer. Encode the result from the SQL as a JSON. Put each of those JSON inside an array. And if something wrong happened, send a bad answer, a bad code response, and return some data to debug why an error happened. So here we need to put I copy paste this from the local host, so we need to change this one to this one. The user is going to be this one. Password anyway later. The database name to be that one. I give the password. Probably will going to delete this account, so doesn't matter. So for some reason this is the password. Then you save it, you close it, and you edit the one that extracts the data. Sorry, the one that make the posts. So it's the same idea. But now we get more data from the post variable. We get the name, the page ID, the user ID, the email. Remember that the page ID is the same for everybody, because we have just one chat. The email also doesn't matter. The parent post ID, 0 if it's null, timestamp, and if the avatar is null, we give 1 by default, but this is wrong because in iOS, in some iOS browsers, you cannot read this format. But anyway, and then you make the query to insert the data. So you put the name of the columns that you want to insert and the corresponding values. And if you succeed, you return data inserted, and if not, error, and what happened. And this doesn't matter. So again, the server name, yes, we changed the variable. This is all a mess, and it's far from being perfect, but the server name is this one. The username, the password, database name, and the password here. And that's it. Save. Yeah, I know this is horrible, but you can put the same information in just one file and just do an if. But anyway, this works. Now let's go back to our React application. Okay. So what we need to do, remember we made several post elements equally, like they were the same. We just need to get these, each one with the data coming from the database. At the beginning we're not going to get any, and also we need to finish the logic to post a message. So we need to finish this button. This button is this one. Okay, so in reality we don't see any message coming, so we need to post a message here. Submit and post a message. So on click, we need to the logic of this. Okay, let's uncomment this. This is what this does is to prevent the default action and just execute the custom action that is this chunk of code. So if the message information is validated, we're going to disable the submit button. We are going to create a form data object, and we are going to fill this form data object with the required information. The post is going to have the text, the name, the page ID, but remember it's the same, doesn't matter, the email, the image name that comes from the selected image, and where are we going to make this request? We need to change this. So it was posts and the host URL post URL. Without the S. Okay. We're going to append the user ID. Yes, this is a mess. And then we are going to call Axios. Axios.post URL, make a post request to this URL with this data. That's what this does. Then, when you execute this, get all posts to refresh and to see the new message that we posted, because the get all posts function is going to call to the database and extract all the messages after we have inserted a new one in order to refresh the data. Then we are going to reinitialize some variables, like the input text. We are going to delete the text, and we are going to reset the image, the avatar image. And we are going to get the text area element and reset its content. And we are going to make the button available again. So we are going to enable the button. So what do we need to finish from here? First we are going to see where these come from. Input text come from here. And this change is updated each time we make a change to the text area. This one selects the image. Get help post. We need to finish that one. Okay, so we finished the get all post function. And this is a post request. So I used to have a get instead of a post, but for some reason the iOS web browsers were giving me problems with the get request, so I just transformed the get request into a post request. So again, we do the same form data, we fill the form data, we give the URL to make the request, and the file is located on our server, remember. Get post. What's the name of that file? Get posts. Then once we get the data, we sort the data. We sort it on descending order. I don't remember anymore. But here we sort the data as to get the new ones first. Because remember, the post ID is incrementing all the time. and then we save. Oh, we need to finish it. We save this data that we get to an state variable. So we need to finish this state variable setter. There it is. So this filled the post's state variable. What else do we need? Input name, input email. We need to install Axios. We need. So we install Axios. And we need to import Axios. Input name is not defined, input email is not defined. So those two, input email, input name, are state variables, and they come from above. Okay, because the idea of the form is that you log in and the form receives the username that just logged in and the user ID and the user email. That is the purpose. So that's why they come from above, because you can request the user like a blog post to type his name and his email on each message, but since this is like a chat, you just log in and then you will get your name and your ID saved for all the messages. So now it works. And let's see if the request works. Let's do a console log with a text. Let's see if we are sending anything. Whoa. Yeah, because we need to give this one. Okay, so these, as we said before, the idea of this is that comes from the login information. Since we are not going to do the login section, at least for now, we just hard-coded these variables. Let's see if it's enough for sending some information. No. For some reason, it's not working at all. And validated, because it's not being validated. You see the color is warning. The color has to be green. Validated. Set validated. Okay, so we are going to make the handler. It's going to deal with the validation, and each time the validate function executes, it's going to see, is the input text empty? If it's not empty, then validate the validation. If it's empty, false. And when do we have to check the validation? We want to check the validation each time the input text changes the input name or input name. This is not necessary, just the input text, because these are hard-coded. Anyway, this is sort of a mess because it's between a blog post and a messenger and a chat application. So we can just delete this. So each time the text area changes, validate, is the input text empty? If not, yes, do something. Okay, you see, now it changed the color, and we can we send the message. You see, we made a request to the post PHP file in our server. Let's see if we have inserted a record into the database. So let's see, where is our database? And it didn't work. What happened? So we should see in a record here if this succeeds. If our request succeeds, we should be seeing a record here. But it didn't succeed for some reason. So you see an error. And some message that okay, so what happened? So you see we are returning this for some reason. Okay, so the query failed. The query to the database failed. So here we failed. Okay. So let's return the query to see it's not able to post that. Error ID doesn't matter. Post info. Let's see the query. I want to see the query. To see if I'm making the query correctly. So you see here we have the query. For some mysterious reasons, name, the post, that thing, page ID 1, user ID 1, email, timestamp, parent post ID 0, image avatar. So it looks okay. I think we have a problem with the structure of the database. Okay, wait. Okay, so I think I know what happened. So you see we have an empty space here. So the database name was wrong, the credentials to the database were wrong. Let's see if that was the reason. Okay, let's see if we get that message posted. Let's refresh. You see? These ones, I created these 3 ones before. So I'm going to delete those. Okay, so our application is working. Refresh. Let's refresh. Okay, so we are able to post messages. Now we need to extract the messages. So are we receiving the messages from the database? Let's see that. Yes, we are receiving the messages. Now we just need to create an array with these messages and give this information to each React component. So let's create a function that is going to deal with this creation of this array of React components. So let's delete this. And let's put our function create posts, but we need to implement this function. And this is our implementation. So we have a map for all posts. We're going to do something. For each one of our post elements extracted from the database, we are going to execute some logic, and we are going to return a post element. As you can see, we have the color that is going to give whether assign this color or this one. We have some logic to refresh the data, so don't mind about this yet. We have the subpost data, the user ID, the image avatar, the page ID. The key is going to depend on the post's length in order to force the refresh of the elements. The content of the main post, the username that wrote the post, timestamp, the post ID, the username, and the user email. So how do we create the subpost data? We say just give me the posts whose prime post ID is 0. This means give me the main posts. Okay, and for the main posts, then filter all the posts that have these main posts as parent. This is what this does. And these are the subposts for this parent post. Okay, so this is going to have a lot of errors probably. Just one. So what's the idea behind the set trigger change? The idea is that when we make a reply, as when we create a sub post, we need to tell the form that it needs to refresh. So what this set trigger change does is that you give this function to the subpost level and executes it and tells the form to refresh the posts, to make a request to the database and extract all the posts again. That is what it does. That's what it does. So let's create a state variable for that. And also let's do something. Let's trigger something when this state variable changes. So I like to put all the use effects at the end, between the return and the code above. So when the trigger changes, then you force the application to make a request to the database and obtain all the data all over again. So get all posts. Because so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. But because before we hard-coded the data, they are all the same. So now we need to give each element the corresponding data. So each post React element has all these parameters as inputs. But remember that before we just gave 3 parameters, so we need to update that information. Okay, so we just copy paste this. Bueno. So you see we are not using most of the parameters because we have hard-coded them. So now we need to do the same as we did in the form with the post. We need to do in the post with the sub post. So instead of having this sub post element hard coded, we're going to have something depending on the data, on the sub post data. And it's going to be a function very similar to the one that we created on the form, very similar to this one. Okay, so this is our function. It's going to take the data coming from above and it's going to fill up the parameters fields for the sub post element. Okay, so sub post is a state variable. Okay, but so we fix we don't have any sub post. We haven't implemented this yet. And also we have our sub post. And now our sub post is ready. Our post have a problem, so we need to replace the hard-coded data with the dynamic data. Timestamp Okay, so we fixed the hard-coded data. We changed this hard-coded data for the dynamic data coming from the database. you see it's working already. Now we need to finish the reply functionality, and that's very similar to this section. It's almost the same. So we go to posts, to the post React element, to the reply button, and to the handle submit reply, and we finish that function. And it's going to be very similar. Prevent default, so don't do anything besides this. If the message is valid, do the following with the same redundant information, but you can delete what is redundant, and it's pretty much this log. So but the difference is that we give the parent post ID, and we get that information from above, because this is a sub post. That's it. Posts. It's the exact same idea before. The only difference is that now we give a parent post ID, and also we trigger changes on the form level. Trigger change on the form level, since we changed this state variable coming from the form React component, and then we get all posts again, and then we refresh the data. Put name is not defined. Put email, access, set input email. Yeah. These are not necessary. These are like blog posts in which you are asked to type your email name and name. We are going to put it anyways. Access. So these, remember that you have two kinds of usernames coming from above in the post React element. You have the one that comes from the database, this one, and also you have this one that is hidden, that is yourself, because you are going to post another message here. So these are different names, because you can reply to another person's post, not necessarily your post. So you have the other's person name, and you have your own name that it doesn't appear here but is registered, supposedly, once you log in into the application. So that's why you have active username, that's your name, and also you have the username that is the name of the main post that is already saved in the database. So the input name, that is the name you are going to send to the database as you replying to the main post, is this one. The same with the email. Okay, so name, email, and the user ID. The user ID doesn't come from the database because it's your ID, the person that is using the application. And this comes from above, from the first level, because supposedly you need to log in and then you get assigned this user ID. Okay, let's see if this works. It's not going to work because I need to validate the same process that we did before. I'm not validated. It validates. Okay, so the validate function, and then this is triggered anytime the input text changes. So I like to put the use effects at the end. Okay. So you see now it changed to green. That means that we are ready to go. We post it. And we get the message. Now, what happens if you make a post here? Different computer post. Okay. You're not seeing that. You need to refresh and see the new message. So how can we refresh? You can use WebSockets, but that's another whole different topic. Or you just can say, hey, get posts every few seconds. Refresh the data, and that's what we are going to do now. In the form React object, we write this use effect logic. So once the component is mounted, get all posts, set the Windows dimensions right, create a set interval object that is going to execute every 4 seconds, and every 4 seconds we are going to call the getAllPosts again. Once you dismount the component, you are going to clear this interval, this object interval. That is what this chunk of code does. Okay, so set windows with, I need to finish that. You see? Okay, let's see if this works. We have this message. We're going to reply from another computer. You see? I think that's it for the application. Okay, so I have this problem. I don't want to look for it. There's some place in which I am creating an array of components, and I forgot to put the keys. Probably one of these has a problem. Post key. Post. Let's see if that fixes the problem. No. And I have another warning that I didn't have before, so I don't have that warning here in the finished application. Oh yeah, I have that same warning. Ah no, because I lost information. Anyway, let's see if our Ssl certificate is finished to continue with this application. So let's see if we have the free certificate. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So what we are going to do now, well, it's finished enough, so we are going to build our solution. and it's going to what this does is to transform all the React syntax that is not understood by the web browser, but it transforms it into JavaScript, into plain JavaScript and HTML, and that is understood to the browser. So React is an abstraction for JavaScript and HTML to make it easier to code. That's all that it is. So at the end of the day, you still will get JavaScript and HTML. So we build the solution. Now we go to the place we build the solution. Okay, build. And now we have to post all these into our file manager here. Okay, so we delete this. For some reason you cannot give too many files to upload to infinityfree because it gets stuck. So I always just upload 4 to 5 files. Well, it is free. What else? You cannot ask for everything. So you see, it's probably it's not going to upload that one. It's going to get stacked. You see, so you cancel and you do it again. Keep remote files. So yeah. Far from being perfect. And the same is going to happen here. It's not going to finish, so we are going to do the same process again. But it's free and it doesn't ask you for anything but your email, so that's great. So you see, it stopped uploading files. And it's not a big deal unless you have too many files. So weird. What is the cause of that malfunction? Probably there is a better way to do this, but I don't know it. Okay. So now if we go to this you have a chat application, but everybody has the same name. Because that's for another day. There's a bug. Something's not working. Because it closed my window. Wait. Using the localhost, I don't have that problem. Oh yes, I have that problem. I think I know why. I think these math random as keys are forcing the application to refresh too much. You see? That was the problem. I was forcing the refresh too much. Whatever that means. At the speed of science. So I should have tested this before posting it, because now I need to okay, let's do this. Let's build the solution again. So we have our solution. to replace everything again. Upload and replace. The static changed, so this changes. Probably these two. Okay. So you see, now we have. Before we were refreshing too much for some reason. Now we can post. Yeah, so it's up to you if you want to go to do a login page, like for example what? So you create a register, like you give a name, last name, an email, a password, and then you log in. Then the email, name, and ID is already saved. So you see, at the end of the day, this is the application I explained to you guys. Is so it knows my name. Here are all the names, and so this application you upload homework to students, and then they complete their homework, and they already know if the homework was right or wrong. If it's this color is good, this bad, and also it notifies the parents and tells them the score of the homework that they made, and they can ask me or somebody else, or among themselves they can ask questions like, how do I solve this, and they can talk through here. And all this is infinity free, you see. And then I also made an infinite practice sums save, and once they complete this, they get a reward as a meme. And you see, like, infinite, there are infinite They are created on the fly. I have that one, like with level of difficulties. Well, that's very difficult. Save. Random. So division, multiplication, difference, and here they can learn. And I put some iframes to videos from YouTube. Anyway, so just to show you that why all the name confusion, because this chat application is supposed to be just a part of a bigger application. And that's it. So now you wait for your free SSL. I don't know how long it's going to take. Oh. I guess I now have to request a certificate. Well, I'll leave that for another episode. So yeah, you just need to wait and follow these instructions. We are almost there, and then you will be able to secure this, because several browsers don't let you go to unsecure pages. Also remember, some image formats do not work on iOS, and GET request doesn't work on some browsers for some reason, or you need to do extra special things to make it work. So I learned all that doing these applications. I hope these have helped you. That's it for now. Bye.